Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really special, a truly practical, incredibly powerful framework for living a balanced and intentional life. Look, whether you're chasing personal growth, trying to build better relationships, or just, looking for a clearer sense of purpose, we're going to break down 8 simple, yet honestly profoundly challenging rules for life. So, let's jump right in and unpack these together.
Okay, let's dive into this. What we're looking at here is the actual source document containing the teachings of Master Hoang Quy, absolutely beautifully laid out in its original Vietnamese. We've taken these exact 8 directives, translated them directly, and we are going to unpack the sheer weight and wisdom they hold. By breaking them down piece by piece, we can really start to see how they all snap together to form this massive overarching philosophy.
So, here's our roadmap for these teachings. We'll start with the quest for goodness, move into treating others with grace, then navigating the material world, mastering the inner self, and finally, the final challenge. All right, Section 1, the quest for goodness, the foundational principle.
The very first directive hits you right away. It says, be a good person. Live not only for yourself, but for everyone. So the crucial point is, this is almost the exact opposite of that classic airplane oxygen mask rule, right? Here, you actually have to think about everyone else's air supply before you even start the rest of your own journey. This principle acts as a giant umbrella for the other 7 rules. It sets a crystal clear intention. Your life is deeply, fundamentally interconnected with literally everyone around you.
Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds. Treating others with grace, friendship, and fairness. Now, these teachings, they totally challenge our natural human instinct for self-preservation, especially in our relationships. Master Hoang Quy asks us to actually be willing to accept a little loss with friends and to give without regret. I mean, that is demanding some radical generosity right there. But, and this is key, it's balanced by absolute fairness. It says, do not show favoritism, even toward family or close friends. Wow. That is incredibly difficult in practice, isn't it? It's asking us to elevate pure justice and impartiality way above our own personal biases and loyalties. And this brilliantly illustrates a really delicate balance. On one hand, you're instructed to stand firm in your principles without just blindly following the crowd. You need a backbone. But simultaneously, you've got to be totally open to accepting others' opinions when they're actually right, specifically without being arrogant or full of yourself. It's really about having a strong spine, but keeping a soft, open mind. You hold your ground, sure, but without letting your ego slam the door on the truth.
Moving right along to Section 3, navigating the material world, greed and debts.
What does not belong to you should remain where it is. Let that sink in for a second. There is absolutely no finders keepers rule in this philosophy. None. This is a strict zero-tolerance policy. The directive actually goes on to specify that you should never take it or even move it for yourself. It's a profound, deeply rooted respect for boundaries in the physical world. If it isn't yours, it simply doesn't exist as an option for you. End of story. Which leads straight into this blunt, incredibly direct command. Absolutely do not be greedy. Bam! There is zero gray area here, no loopholes to jump through. The text just cuts right to the chase to make absolutely sure our craving for material things doesn't hijack our main foundational goal, which, remember, is just being a good person.
And equally direct is this rule. If you owe something, you must repay it. Whether we're talking about a physical object, a financial debt, or even a moral obligation, tying up these loose ends is absolutely essential. You literally cannot navigate the material world with total integrity or move forward cleanly in life if you're constantly dragging the heavy weight of unpaid debts behind you.
All right, let's get into Section 4, Mastering the Inner Self, Honesty and Ego. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it basically forces us to confront our own ego head-on. It demands absolute, unwavering transparency. Always be completely honest, never lie. Simple, right? But it goes way further. When we mess up, the text tells us to admit it without fear and do not try to hide your faults. It completely strips away all that defensive armor we constantly try to build up around our own mistakes. You are you versus they are them. This captures one of the most liberating directives in the entire text, which is to never, ever compare yourself. The source explicitly tells us to draw a hard, impenetrable line between our own path and the paths of the people around us. Your journey is exclusively your own. no one else is. Because think about it, when you finally stop comparing, you unlock this incredibly powerful state of being, never feeling inferior or worrying about what others think of you. Shutting that fear of other people's opinions is the ultimate key to mastering the inner self here. It frees you up to operate from a place of genuine, quiet authenticity, rather than feeling like you're constantly performing for an audience. And that brings us to Section 5, the final challenge, putting it into practice. By combining the quest for goodness with treating others gracefully, respecting the physical world, and mastering our ego, we are essentially handed a complete, cohesive guide to living well. So, I have to ask, which of these 8 teachings do you struggle with the most? Is it practicing that radical generosity without regret? Or maybe admitting your faults without fear? Or, let's be real, is it stopping the endless, exhausting cycle of comparing yourself to others? Take a moment today to really reflect on this framework. And hey, maybe revisit this explainer to focus on the specific area you really want to explore more. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep learning.